Hi, this is Cindy Wilson, and you're listening to Cigar City Radio.
Cigar City Radio is sponsored by No Clubs and StateMedia.com. Find out about upcoming concerts in Tampa Bay by visiting StateMedia.com and tagging No Clubs on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Use the hashtag #WeAreConcerts.
Here's what No Clubs has coming up this summer. Friday, May 31st, Black Bear is bringing the Dead to the World tour to Janus Live. Thursday, June 13th, the Monster Energy Outbreak Tour comes to town at the Ritz Ybor with Slushy. That's an 18-plus show, so our intern Simone can go. Thursday, June 20th, Bowling for Soup and Real Big Fish with Nerf Herder at Janus Live. Love that. That's a great lineup. Tuesday, July 30th, August Burns Red brings their 10 Years of Constellations tour to the Ritz Ybor with Silverstein and Silent Planet. Tuesday, August 6th at the Orpheum, Baroness is bringing the Gold and Gray tour to Ybor. Thursday, August 15th at Janus Live, Umphreys McGee and Magic City Hippies are going to be in town. Saturday, August 17th at the Ritz Ybor, you can catch Pedro the Lion and Me Without You. Sunday, August 18th at Vinoy Park, we have Revolution, the Good Vibes Summer Tour with Protege, Collie Buds, and DJ Mackle. I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of smoke in the air for that one. For more info on all these shows and to see the rest of the lineup coming to town throughout the year, head to statemedia.com and use the hashtag #WeAreConcerts. Welcome to Cigar City Radio. The song you just heard was Young Guns by St. Pete's own Fever Beam. Check that out on wherever you listen to music. Follow Fever Beam. I'm your host, Randy Ojeda, and making the magic happen, a man who is a total babe, Mr. Jason Solanas.
Speaking of babes.
I'm just going to stop you right there. Let's not even go any further.
No, I was trying to do my best Jean-Luc Picard impression because he likes Earl Grey tea, and I just drank a London Fog, and I was wondering, would I get energy from an Earl Grey, and would that be a good band name?
Earl Grey
Enema.
Yeah, that would be an interesting hardcore band.
And I don't even have to bleep that shit out. That's medical, motherfucker.
Yeah,
motherfucker.
I guess. Our guest on this episode is Angela Page from Love Your Rebellion. Love Your Rebellion is a Florida-based nonprofit focused on community outreach, education, and arts diversity. They are hosting Love Your Rebellion's Babefest 2019 Tampa on Saturday, May 25th at Crowbar with headlining act Chastity Belt and support from Broom Closet, Palomino Blonde, and the Young Dead. We will be out at Babefest, so come out and say hi to us. It's a really good cause, lots of great bands, and it's just an all-around fun time. We had a blast chatting with Angela. She was super cool. She drove all the way from Fort Myers to talk to us. I couldn't even believe it. But thank you, Angela, for driving all that way. I hope you had fun in Tampa while you were here. We definitely had a blast chatting with you. Hopefully she'll come back sometime in the future and talk more, because we were just scratching the surface of the mission of Love Your Rebellion and, you know, what Babefest symbolizes. It's definitely a cause that we're really passionate about here at Cigar City. Management and, something that we really believe in. So thanks, Angela, for doing everything that you do for your community, for our community. And hopefully it's the start of many more Babe Fests around the country and around the world. So here it is. Love Your Rebellion's Babe Fest. Out with our new friend Angela Page from Love Your Rebellion. Love Your Rebellion's Babe Fest, the 4th annual Babe Fest, is happening Saturday, May 25th at Crowbar, featuring Seattle's all-female shoegaze outfit Chastity Belt, which will be the band's first time performing in Tampa Bay, which is amazing. We'll talk more about that in a bit. And they're playing alongside St. Pete's Broom Closet, Miami's Palomino Bland. That is Palomino Blonde. Okay. Miami's Palomino Blonde and Fort Myers, The Young Dead. That's a pretty epic lineup.
Yeah, thanks. I do my best.
Yeah. Well, I think it's cool that you're combining bands from so many different parts of Florida. Like, it's not just Tampa bands, but, you're bringing some bands from Fort Myers and from Miami.
Yep.
Like, that's really cool.
That's part of the plan, always has been with Babe Fest. I try to get regional acts. That's how it started. And so I try to keep that part of it. Even though we brought in a national act this year, I wanted to make sure that there was a good amount of Florida representation, because I actually think we're undervalued as a music state.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the reasons we do this podcast, is to show that there's a lot of cool stuff happening in the Florida music scene that people don't realize.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we have a legacy of music, of people coming from down here too. And I don't think people realize that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So why Chastity Belt this year, and how did you get them? How did that come about?
So I work with someone here in town named Vicky Huddy. She works for No Clubs, which does...
Yeah, shout out to No Clubs, our sponsors on this podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're also a Babe Fest sponsor.
Hey, thanks for sponsoring No Clubs.
Super big shout out. So Vicky's been working with me on Babe Fest since 2017, since I brought it up to the St. Pete, Tampa area.
Okay.
And we had always had the goal to go national at some point, to bring in a national act, and she has some ability through No Clubs to reach out to national booking agents. So we courted a few different ideas. We had like a short list of bands that we were interested in bringing. Some of them super heavy, some of them more like indie outfits, like Chastity Belt. And we landed on them for a few reasons. One is that they were available.
Yeah, availability is key. Yeah.
A lot of bands had already, started booking their tours for that time period, and we're going to be in other places. And also, Vicky, it's one of her favorite bands, Chastity Belt. So
that's great.
I kind of felt like she was so super jazzed about it, and she's the primary person who kind of organizes up here. So she was like, I would love to do this. They're available. Do you want? And I was like, yeah, I mean, they're a great name. And
they're a great band.
Yeah. People love them. And it would be like you said, their first time in this area, coming. I think the farthest south they've gone is like Georgia, maybe Pensacola. Yeah. But I know this is their first time in Tampa, so that's kind of how it happened. She, reached out to their booking agency, and we got the ball rolling. So that's it.
That's great. That's a really cool. I mean, just a Chastity Belt alone is great, but then the Babe Fest in general and the whole the cause and everything that's surrounding Babe Fest. You're gonna have vendors and stuff there too. Yeah.
So every year we kind of produce this little like femme market kind of thing. So it's really diverse, and we try to bring in lots of different kinds of vendors. A lot of times we'll have nonprofits come. In years past, we've had like Girls Rock St. Pete and the Derby Girls out, and just different organizations that support women and women's groups and things like that. So it's always kind of been a priority to build like a community experience with Babe Fest. So
that's awesome. Yeah. So this is the 4th annual Babe Fest.
Yes.
So I guess tell us a little bit about the previous years and why don't you tell us how Babe Fest came together initially?
So I'm actually from Fort Myers. Well, that's where I live right now. I'm a Florida native. I've lived all over, but
Yeah. So thanks for driving from Fort Myers for this podcast.
yeah, no, I'm happy to. I come up to Tampa for business every once in a while, so I'm gonna take care of a couple other things while I'm here. But anyway,
You sound like a boss though. I'm gonna take care of a couple other things while I'm down. You know what I'm saying?
and that's probably just the Sicilian part of me.
Yeah.
I'll take care of a couple things.
Take care
you
of
know,
a few people. You
this,
know.
that, whatever. Anyway, so I reside in Fort Myers, and my town has like a really nice music community, and not a lot of people know about it. So I always want to do stuff with diversity in music. You know, there's always like a lack of diversity on lineups. Even like when I was listening to my Spotify playlist, my weekly, you know, it's like mostly men.
Yeah.
And so I always thought it would be great to like build a festival with diversity in mind. So it's not like the number one reason we booked a band, but we like to have every band to have some sort of diverse lineup. So, so I started with Babefest in 2016, very small, like an 80-person venue, Nice Guys Pizza in Cape Coral. Shout out to them. They're also one of the Babefest sponsors that have been with us since the beginning. And that one was pretty successful for my town. It sold out and we did well, made a small profit. We're able to just keep it going. So 2017, I came up here and I met with someone up that was working at 662 when it was there, and he was also booking Foo Bar. And he got wind of Babefest and was like, why don't you just do that up here? So I switched gears and I moved it up to the St. Pete, Tampa area for 1 year. And then in the third year, I did 2 dates, which was last year. So we just now have started doing Fort Myers and Tampa, St. Pete. There's a couple reasons for that. I really can't leave my town completely. I don't want to leave them in the lurch. I think they need the infusion of what I'm doing. And also, you know, a lot of people when I left and went up there, you know, for 2017 were like, are you coming back? Why did you leave? Like, what are you guys going to do this again here? So we decided to go with 2 dates. So that's kind of like the long and short. In 2017 is when I met Vicky, when I was working out stuff up here. The guy who was supposed to help me didn't really help me that much. And I had met her at a zine fest and she like was like a godsend. You know, it was like closing a road in a town I didn't live in and all this crazy stuff. And she was like, this is the form you need and blah, blah, blah. So it's always been about women coming together and trying to carve out a space for diversity in music. That's always what it was about. So
that's really great. And does that speak to like the greater mission of Love Your Rebellion? Yeah.
So in 2018, early 2018, we became a nonprofit. So we're a 501c3 and the mission is to empower marginalized groups through the arts. So we do that in a few ways. Love Your Rebellion is the Babefest event that's annual is one of them. And then we also make a zine where we publish artists and writers from at-risk groups. We do some like at-risk programming, like all ages events for teens in our town and stuff that just allows people to have an outlet and expression. So we hope to grow that over the coming years.
That's awesome. That's such a great mission, you know, and it kind of, it aligns with a lot of what we do, like at Cigar City Management. Like we manage a number of like female fronted and non-binary bands. And, you know, that's always been something I've noticed in the music industry as well, is that, you know, it's, you know, there's only so many times I can see a band that's, you know, 4 white dudes with guitars, you know, like I really needs, you know, I feel like there needs to be more diversity in lineups and just in the music scene in general. So I'm glad to see that you guys are doing that, you know, almost in our backyard.
Yeah, thanks. Cool. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. So what was the inspiration for you then to start Love Your Rebellion? And I mean, I guess you talked a little bit about, you know, wanting more diversity, but what else is going on there?
I'm a musician myself. Mm-hmm. I don't really like boast this, but my band is the Young Dead, so I'll be playing with opening for Chastity Bell as well. Oh, right on!
Shout out to the Young Deads.
Thanks. Yeah. So I'm a woman who plays music. You know, and you get boxed in a lot or you get shut out a lot. So like one of the things that frequently happens, for example, is like if I write my bandmate's name when I'm like doing booking research, if I write my male bandmate's name, I get more responses than if I put my own name. And I've had...
That's so dumb.
Yeah, I've had other women in town who are front women who are in charge of booking who have said the same thing to me. My friend Claire from the Free Coasters, she says the same thing. And it's just always been a difficult thing. So I was like, well, what if a woman was in charge of the booking?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
What if it was somebody, you know? And I've actually seen a few places that have a diverse booking community, can have like more than just one type of person booking, which I think has something to do with it. So I was like, why don't I get on the other end then? If I'm, if this is one of the things that I'm seeing, a way that we're being maybe not pushed out, but just overlooked or something, why don't I just like get on the other end? And that's what happened. So,
and I mean, it happens at all levels of the industry. I mean, when you look at like, Austin City Limits or like these big festivals where there's very little diversity on the lineup, and especially at like the headliner stages. Like there's very few women headliners, and it's not because they can't draw. It's just I don't know why they're not doing it.
I mean, I still think that there's fewer women that are in the music industry, specifically because we're still kind of like instructed not to do that. Like playing rock and roll or even rapping or doing whatever is like not typically feminine. And there are still a lot of dudes out there, or people, even women, whomever, non-binary, probably not non-binary folks. I would think they'd be more open-minded, but a lot of people are like, we don't listen to female singers. Like, I don't like women singers. I've seen this said, and I'm just like, and then, there's so much other things that has to go in with that. Like women have to work harder for half the approval. So you have to be like the best guitar player ever. Whereas like a bunch of mediocre guys can get together and start a band and everyone's like, ooh. So it just, And
then what really annoys me are like the qualifiers, like we manage a band called Fruit and Flowers who all across the board, like can just shred. Like, Anna from Fruit and Flowers is like one of the best guitar players I've ever seen. But people are always like, oh yeah, they're really good for a girl, or for a woman or whatever. And it's like, they're just really good. They're just good. The same thing happened to me. And again, this is where it's happening at all levels. Like I was at the mom and pop label showcase like in New York a few months ago and seeing Courtney Barnett. And I mentioned that, Courtney Barnett's one of my favorite songwriters right now. And somebody said to me, they're like, you mean one of your favorite female songwriters? And I was like, no, I said what I said. I said she's one of my favorite songwriters. Like there's no reason to
separate.
Yeah, there's really isn't.
And we get, there's like, a few schools of thought on that. And like, I feel like maybe there's a little bit of pushback sometimes when we say, like, I usually say diversity first festival, because it's not just that I'm trying to bring women into music. It's everyone, non-binary folks, like we're talking about, trans people, people of color. All of this is like, especially in rock and roll, really undervalued and not really showcased. And they might be in the corners or the more marginalized genres of rock music, but typically you're still going to see a cis straight white dude, fronting or being a part of a popular band. That's going to be, it's still kind of the status quo, unfortunately. So.
Yeah. And I always tell people, I'm sure you agree with this, that, female fronted is not a genre.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. Yeah. Get a little bit of pushback from that, because it's not, it's really hard to promote something by saying what it's not. So they are female fronted bands. This is absolutely true. I'm going to say, yes, this is to support women in music, but it's more than that, because if you look at the lineups are diverse. There are bands, like my band is female fronted with a bunch of cis dudes, and then one of the bands we have playing in Fort Myers, Butch Queen and the Bad Habits, there's a drag queen who fronts that band. And I mean, it's like, we try to, like I said, make it very inclusive. So we're not leaving anybody out. We're trying to bring people in. That's kind of the goal. Like, well, that's why I call it diversity first, rather than, female fronted festival. Now, this is a diversity first fest. The point of the lineup is inclusion, and that means everyone. So I do my best to create that atmosphere.
I love that phrase, diversity first. And that's a really good way to qualify it without, singling out a specific group.
And it's also not to say, like, like I said, it's not like you have to be this to play the festival, but you do have to show some diversity in your lineup, like I like when different people are making music together. I think diversity breeds a lot of good collaboration and can bring a lot of good things. So that's part of it.
Yeah. And that's really where that's what breaks down the walls, because it's like we're saying, it's not, you don't have to qualify it as like, oh, this is a female band or whatever. Like this is just a band, and that's how it should be for any band, whether, it doesn't matter what the gender or sex or, ethnicity or whatever of the members are,
Yeah, and we push it. So that's kind of the point. And that's why I chose the word babe. So people ask me sometimes, like, Babefest, babe is anyone. Anyone can be a babe. You can refer to any person.
Jason's a babe.
Yeah, I mean, Randy and Jason are both babes. It could be anyone. So, like, that's part of it too. It's like that word is inclusive. It's sort of gender neutral, and it can be embraced by all communities. I don't really think, anyone has like too much of a, and it's a reclamation at the same time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you're taking that term back.
Right.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Thanks.
So very cool.
Thank you.
So why in Tampa then? Why not? Why come here instead of just sticking with Fort Myers or something?
I'm gonna be honest with you. It's just opportunity. Like, so I Love Your Rebellion makes zines, and we've made zines for many years. We're on issue 11 now. So cool. I go to Zine Fest, and I have for many years all over the state. And actually, the Tampa St. Pete area is one of the places where I've met people who are willing to open their doors to me and to participate in growing the community and maybe building like a sister city relationship. So, like, Miami is, crazy big. We're about 2 hours. Fort Myers is about 2 hours from Miami, about 2 hours from Tampa. So, I've gone to both places, and Miami is its own little bubble and wants to do its own thing, and it has its own sister cities: Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach. But Tampa, St. Pete, I feel like if we wanted to, we could build that connection and create like a throughway for bands who are going down into Florida and trying to figure out a way to come out and get out of Florida, just loop around to Fort Myers and come up through Tampa. So I've been trying to build sort of, like I said, a sister city relationship with Tampa, St. Pete, and Fort Myers. Try to bring what we have up there and try to bring what you guys have up here down there a little bit. So people have just been cool. That's literally the bottom line.
Yeah.
Like, I've talked to people and they've been cool and they've liked what I'm doing, and I just work hard, get lucky, work hard, get lucky. That's basically it. So.
Yeah. Well, the working hard is a key part. I mean,
for sure.
I mean, luck is good too, but you have to work.
It's equal parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People think the music industry is like just, all fun and games.
Oh my God, it's the worst. It's the hardest thing in the world. You better be really sure.
Yeah, you have to be absolutely sure that you want to do this.
You better be real sure.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's wasted time, to be honest. So.
Yeah, I talk about that. Like somebody just asked me about the value of like South by Southwest as a music festival. This is kind of getting into a tangent here.
That's okay.
Yeah, I always say that like it's a stress test for bands. Like if you go there for that week and you play like 20 shows and you do this South by thing, like by the end of that week, you're going to know if this business is right for you or not, And
I'm like, I haven't done South by Southwest, but I really want to. And when you say that, like, fills me with excitement. So clearly that's something that I would probably really enjoy. So I need to get out there.
Oh yeah, you should. We're there every year. So come and hang with us.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me a little bit more about Fort Myers too, because I have to be honest, it's a city that I kind of skip over in my mind as a stop for music.
Yeah, I feel like most people do, and that's fair because it's a small town. There aren't a lot of venues, but we do have a few venues that are really, really interested in growing the community. And then we have, a group of musicians, a nice scene down there that's interested in growing it. And we do have a few bands that actually travel outside of our city and do well in their own genres. So for Myers, there's two venues that I think are probably the best at bringing in outside acts from outside of our city and also showcasing what is local. And that would be Howl Tattoo in Fort Myers, which is where the Fort Myers Babefest will be on May 24th.
Right on.
And then also Nice Guys in Cape Coral. So both of these places invite bands from out of town. The Nice Guys Pizza is owned by a couple that used to be in the music scene out of Cleveland, Ohio. They were in a band called Ha Cha Cha. So they have some.
I love that name.
They have
Ha Cha Cha.
Yeah, they have some connections. So they brought some bands from the Midwest, like a band called Lung. They brought.
Oh yeah, I love Lung.
Yeah.
They're cello.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. I saw them at South by Southwest.
Oh yeah. They came to Fort Myers. And
wow.
On their little loop through. They're on like a 70-week tour.
Yeah. No. They
something
tour
crazy like that.
Yeah. They rock
insane.
hard.
They're very good
for a band that's like cello and drums, right?
They're cool.
Yeah.
And so them, they brought them down. My band opened for them. And Howl did the same thing, brought them, and Brooklyn Steel has come down. So there's like a couple of acts that have come through, and we bring people over from Miami as much as we can. So, So, and in my town, there's not a lot of punk rock. So I'm probably like one of a few, and there's not a lot of women musicians either. There's probably two other female fronted bands, three other female fronted bands in town that are like awesomely great. And a couple do well on their own. The Free Coasters, Claire is the lead singer of that band, and they're a reggae band, and they do really well. They go all over the States. And so there's bands that do well in their genre. So I think it deserves a nod, and it's growing into its own as a city. We have a lot to fight against. There's a big money element in our city, and then there's also, so there's a lot of economic inequality, and then there's also like we're fighting against baby boomers in a way, you know, so it's and every Florida town has that, but Fort Myers is like one of the ones that's known for having a lot of older folks. So good or bad, you could just kind of say that millennials and Gen Y are starting to come into the area, and so businesses are starting to learn that they need to appeal to those demographics in order to survive.
Yeah.
And the business that's probably doing best in our entire area is Nice Guys, and it has that sort of more urban millennial, like you like us or fuck you kind of feeling to it.
That's a good vibe to have.
Yeah.
I get it.
So, and so the city is seeing that like that needs to happen. It's not just millennials who are interested in it or Gen Z, but you know, it's also, Gen Xers who are, you know, starting to get a little older, and they want something that's like, you know, a lot like what they did in their youth. And, you know, so there are people who are more interested in that. So the city is changing, and, you know, the younger people are the ones who are trying to bring that change about. So it's kind of like a nutshell version of our town and our scene, I guess you could say. So, yeah.
And so what are some other causes that you're particularly, passionate about? You know, you just mentioned like income inequality and some other things.
So I went to school for creative and critical writing. I have a master's degree in that, and part of that was studying sociology and feminist theory. And feminist theory in post like 1995 is all intersectional. So, you know, those intersectionalities, they kind of frame how all of the social injustices are experienced by people, and those overlapping injustices. So, you know, when we talk about women or diversity first or whatever, you know, there's a whole bunch of other aspects to a person's identity other than their gender or sex, you know. So, and I try to create space for everybody who has an othered identity in a sense. So we've done art shows, and like I said, the zine I think is the place that you'll see the most radical embrace of that. You know, a lot of like writing that maybe wouldn't get published because people would say it's too raw or too vulgar or, you know, something like that. Like, I don't know how if you guys bleep this out or not.
No, you can say whatever you want.
So like, you know, in one of our zines, I published a collage piece that just says cunt positive, and it's the centerfold. So like, you know, when you open the zine, it just pops open and it says cunt positive really, really big. In the middle of the zine, it either is just like, wow, this is great, or like people are like, okay, put it down and walk away.
It's going to be one or the other reaction.
Right.
To that.
So like I said, like, you know, I really strive to kind of like create this balance between expression and, you know, lack of censorship. I want to be able to create a space where people feel like they have some freedom to talk about things that maybe they don't feel comfortable talking about with just anyone. So we get a lot of stuff from folks who are expressing those parts of their identity, talking about being gay or lesbian, trans, bisexual, you know, experiences for people of color. Like, I mean, there's a lot of that work inside the zine. So we try to foster that. So I think that's probably the place that you see the most. And as Levy Rebellion grows, we plan to do more of these things. So I really would like to build more programming in my city that reaches out to at-risk populations, specifically teens. I have done work in education, in arts education. And so I would like to be able to build programming in libraries and stuff like that to outreach for teens, especially teens that are struggling with drug addiction or gender identity and sexuality and things like that. So, you know, some because there's not a lot for teens in my area, as you can imagine, and especially like LGBTQ or addiction services for teens. It's like non-existent. So
yeah, I can definitely imagine it being a challenge for a lot of youth growing up.
Yeah.
Like, even though, society could definitely come a long way in terms of accepting others, but it's still, we obviously have a long way to go. And, a lot of times people's families and parents can be, really closed-minded when it comes to,
so
their
they need
child
places.
Or whatever.
And they need places inside their communities to like foster and to feel safe and things like that. And just in general, there's not a lot of places for kids or teens to go, period. In my town.
Yeah.
There's one all ages venue and it got shut down, Beach Records, and it's about to open back up, but it's opening up next to a bar. So we're not exactly sure if it's going to be all ages anymore. So every time like an all ages venue pops up in my city, like the city comes in and is like, rah, rah. So that's, again, it's like a fight. And like my thought is, get on city council. Like I'm ready to just like go to every city council meeting and just be like the thorn in their side. Like,
you should run for city council.
I've thought about it.
Yeah.
And I might try to. They're going to hate me. I'm going to be like the punk rock Leslie Nope.
Yeah.
Just like they'll hate me so much, but whatever. It's fine. They would hate me with or without that.
Yeah. Yeah. But somebody's got to try, right?
Yeah. Maybe I will. Never know. Maybe I'd get elected with all these tattoos and my blue hair and stuff. Who knows?
Yeah.
But we'll see, I guess.
You never know.
Yeah,
I think you could get some people rallying behind you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's very nice. I do my best. Thanks for the encouragement.
Yeah, for sure. So it sounds like you just do so much, Angela. Like you like studied critical writing and stuff. You were saying, and then you also work at a recording studio. You were just telling us.
Yep.
So you play in a band and you do this festival and you have a zine.
Yep.
Like what else do you do?
That's the long and short of it. I work for an arts center in downtown Fort Myers called the Sidney and Vernon Davis Arts Center. For the last 3 years, I've been doing their marketing, and I just changed my relationship with them a little bit so I can focus more on their recording studio. So I've also been running their recording studio there, and for like the last year, so it's getting off the ground, and so. LYR, and LYR does a lot. So any kind of the programming that goes along with Love Your Rebellion. And then I manage this recording studio and I play with the band. So those are like the three things that are the biggest. Yeah. So the recording studio is called Six Fingers Studios. Cool. We've done a couple things. If you want to check it out, we did a band called Joshua Creek. That's like a post-screamo.
Post screamo.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know we were in the post screamo age.
Because they're like 19 or 20 years old.
Okay.
So but they're like throwing back to like Poison the Well and like some of the stuff that was around.
Makes me feel so old to hear the term post screamo.
I don't even want to talk about it. Yeah, but like if you want to check them out, they're called Joshua Creek. They're pretty awesome.
Cool.
So,
well, you want to talk about an underrepresented group? Women in the recording arts specifically is super underrepresented. Yes. Women engineers and mixers and mastering engineers. Yeah. There's not a lot of them.
Yeah, there's only a few in every genre. There's one in the EDM field. Her name is Tanya Baxter. She does a lot of stuff in like drum and bass, and she's also a vocalist and stuff. So she's a big inspiration for me. Kim Gordon has always been a big inspiration.
Yeah, shout out to Kim Gordon.
Because she's always been, had her hands in production in some way. She produced the first whole album, Pretty on the Inside. And St. Vincent, she's about to work with, what is it?
Sleater
Kinney. Yeah. So, that I always like to get into fields, I guess, that maybe aren't, are more male dominated, but honestly, every field is male dominated other than the caregiving fields.
Right.
And those are the more women geared, the things that women are geared towards when they're younger. Like, oh, you should go be a nurse, you could go be a teacher, what I mean? Another version, no offense, none, on those professions, obviously, but, so it's like alternative caretaker of some kind. Like, if you don't want to be a housewife, here's other things you can do where you can take care of people.
Yeah.
Like, I was a teacher for a while, so like I said, no shade, but
yeah. Well, that's just such a bummer because, obviously, Jason and I are both cis males, so we grew up with the opposite of experience where people are always telling us, like, oh, yeah, you can do whatever the hell you want.
Exactly.
You don't have to be in a box. You don't have to limit your choices. But with women, it's like when you grow up, people are telling you already like you can't do certain things,
Right.
and that's really fucked up.
Yeah, you know, I would argue that all people are boxed in by gender. So
Yeah, that is true.
The construct, like I'm sure that there are a lot of men, like male nurses, for example. You know, people, oh, you're not smart enough to be a doctor. Like, no. Do you know that there are nurses who are basically doctor level? Like,
Yeah, sure,
they can
yeah.
do everything a doctor can do. Like, I don't know. So I think men can also be boxed in. You know, they're like. They're encouraged to go towards maybe more physical professions or more highly intellectual, like coding and robotics and mathematics. So like
Sure.
hard skill stuff. And if you're an artist or a painter or, you know, something that's maybe more soft skill oriented, it can be difficult to pursue that as a man. But at the same time, those people in the fields that are dominated by women, the men that are in those fields often get showcased and they excel. One of the fields that I think this is most interesting in is cooking. So
that's a good point.
So women do the majority of the cooking in a domestic situation. Like I would say it's still that women cook the meals for a family, right? But when you go out into the world, the like Michelin star chefs are all men.
That's really weird. Yeah.
So when men go into a field that is predominantly women, they tend to get like more respect. It's like a dad with a baby. How like
Sure,
a woman with a baby.
Stay-at-home dad is like a... Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, you're the best man that's ever lived. It's like, no. You just like, that's just what you do. You whatever. And I don't know. So it's very interesting to me because like women who go into male dominated fields, they'll get like pushed down and shut out and whatever. And then a lot of times when men go into female dominated fields, they'll be revered and sort of like, oh, you're this masterful outlier and we need more diversity because there's no, and it's just like, what? Like,
Yeah.
you know, still like this upper hand, still like this privilege, you know? So it's a very interesting thing for me to see. And like, even being, I would say that I'm more of a producer than an engineer. I can do the tech stuff, but that's not my bread and butter. I like to be in the space with someone and like trying to pull the best performance out of them, or like a Jimmy Iovine kind of person, you know?
Yeah. Like a Rick Rubin type.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But Rick Rubin does do the tech stuff too.
True.
Yeah. But anyway, so like even being, you know, people take me less seriously. Like they'll go with a male engineer in town. And sometimes they'll say that it's because of their experience in the field, but sometimes I doubt that. And sometimes I think that maybe like they don't believe that I would be able to get the same kind of quality or do the same kind of job or even know what I'm talking about. That's a good one. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. But maybe, I don't know. I always postulate because I'm like, is this really happening or am I just like analyzing it too much? I have to be careful not to gaslight myself.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I mean, you're probably right in some instances. You know, unfortunately, I feel like a lot of people still carry those kinds of, I guess, prejudices.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's why I like to do like heavy genres. That's why I like to do like, you know, Joshua Creek, this heavy ass band. And we do a lot of hip hop stuff and it's like a lot of gangster ass shit. And, you know, that's what I want to do because I feel like I said, I feel like women have to do 10 times more. I have to go so much harder and do something that's not soft and gentle, something that's like outside of what you would think a woman's wheelhouse would be. Like I'm not recording singer-songwriters, we're recording like a screamo band or,
yeah,
you know,
gangster rap.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
you know, and so I don't know, it's a really weird situation to be in, but I don't know. Usually I just step right into it and I'm like, what's up everybody?
Yeah.
Here I am. Oh, wow.
Well, that's such a great way to approach it.
Yeah.
You know? Just let them deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's not your problem.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I always like try to process it like it's not my problem, and I also try not to get mad. I try to like be like very even about it and just kind of pretend it's not happening, but at the same time be super firm like a man would. You know, be very firm in the way that I'm discussing things and not let people take advantage of me. You know, so because they will always try.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, what would you say to like, you know, a young woman or somebody who might be listening to this podcast or, you know, sees Babefest and Love Your Rebellion? Like, you know, if somebody wanted to try to, you know, promote diversity in their town, in their scene, what would be the first steps?
Find your crew. So I could not.
Very good point. Yes.
Yeah. I would not be able to do what I do without the people that surround me. Like, I don't have a huge crew, but I have a handful of people, 3 or 4 people who support what I do, and they help me to bounce ideas and to be general support. And they're all interested and definitely in line with the same ideas. Like Vicky, who is up here, she's down with the same philosophies. My 2 biggest helps down in Fort Myers, my art team, Annie and Michelle, and they're the same kind of thing, and that's my number one. Find your crew. Find people who will support what you do and speak your truth, and who are not going to, try to step on you in the end, but who are there by your side the whole time, and treat them like equals. Don't be a dick. That's a big one too.
Yeah. Don't be a dick.
Yeah. Be a good person. I think that says a lot too. Just be a good person. Don't be arrogant, know your worth, but don't be an asshole about it. And also be organized and do what you say you're going to do. Your word is only as good as the action that you put behind it. So if you tell people this is what I'm doing, you better damn well do it. Otherwise, close your mouth until you are for sure that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So don't learn that lesson the hard way, because
very true.
Your reputation will go down the shitter.
Yeah. No, honestly, those are great. That's a great philosophy for anybody going into any industry.
And that's how I take it. Like, the same things that are true for anyone is going to be true for a woman, except times 10.
Yeah.
So, it's even more important. And I say this, like I said, is because of the demands, not because I think there should be greater expectations placed on other people. I'm just saying that it just is the situation that they're going to expect more from you because they expect less. Yeah. So you have to show them 10 times, tenfold what the guy next to you can do. Otherwise, they won't believe you. They'll just give him credit.
It's true. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's a lot of men taking credit for work that amazing women
in the
do.
history of time, there's
we could go back pretty far and find some examples of that.
People love to take credit for work they didn't do, like just in general. So it's easy.
I mean, some people make a whole
life
career.
out of it.
Yeah, some people become president off of it.
Some people, like some people get revered for all eternity. Legacies get created off of theft. Alexander Graham Bell, love that story. Drunk history.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen the Drunk History with him.
You should watch that one. And he talks about how he stole the idea. It's a patent office situation. Mm-hmm. I don't want to spoil it.
Don't spoil it. But that's interesting. There's this quote. I don't know if it's true about like the guy who invented the burglar alarm. Like that got stolen.
That's awesome.
Which is just so ironic.
The irony is brilliant.
Yeah. So
I love that.
Yeah, a lot of great ideas get taken.
Yeah, so. That's also why you should shut your mouth.
Yeah, true.
Because if you haven't copywritten that or trademarked it or actually done it, if you tell someone, there's no reason why they're not going to go do it themselves, especially if they have the resources or more resources than you. So
yeah.
I think you should. I like keeping things to myself until I'm 100% sure that like that's what's up. I don't like to talk. So
well, you're doing a lot of talking now.
I know.
I'm sorry to tell you,
but all these things are for sure, right?
Yeah,
I've already paid Chastity Belt part of their money.
They're coming. We hope. Yeah.
Oh, they'll be here.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. So tell us more about the actual Babefest weekend coming up. May 25th.
Yeah.
Right? May 25th at Crowbar.
Yeah. So there's actually 2 dates. Like I said, there's one in Fort Myers on the 24th and then one at the Crowbar on the 25th. The Fort Myers date has a different lineup. It's only Florida bands. So Bite Marks from Gainesville will be headlining that. And then a bunch of other Florida acts, including my band, The Young Dead, and the Nervous Girls, who are from St. Pete.
Shout out to Nervous Girls.
I love them. They're some of my favorites. As people and musicians. And then on the 25th, we'll be here in Tampa, and that will include the show from the bands that you mentioned, The Young Dead, Palomino Blonde, Broom Closet, Chastity Belt. And we'll also have like a femme DIY marketplace outside of the Crowbar. So the exterior portion, like sort of patio area, we're going to put some vendors in there, and Vicky is curating that. And food vendors and all that kind of stuff. So it should be a blast.
Cool. And it's going to be all femme vendors?
Yeah. So we're trying to do that, cultivate something like that. Something that's like, when we say fun, obviously that has like a wide definition.
Yeah. To us,
yeah.
So some people don't see that connotation,
but
yes.
The queer version usage of the word femme. Yeah. So like, that kind of thing. And, DIY as much as we can and trying to get some nonprofits there too. I've worked with the St. Pete Women's Collective since they've been up here. They actually, one of their members, Jody, helped me work through some of the LYR stuff with accounting and things like that and filing my first year taxes as a nonprofit. So
yeah, I'm not familiar with the St. Pete Women's Collective.
Oh, really? They just opened a venue called Venus.
Oh.
And it's in St. Pete and it looks lovely. I haven't been there yet. I actually might try to drop by before I leave town, but they're doing all kinds of cool stuff, art openings and things like that. Hopefully music soon. So.
Oh, cool. You should put us in touch. I'd love to meet them.
Yeah, I will. I definitely will. There's Ashley and Jody are the two women that I know from that collective. So
okay, if you're listening to this, Ashley and Jody, just hit us up.
I'll tell them. I'll tell them I mentioned them, and I'll definitely connect you guys because they're cool.
Right on. So St. Pete Women's Collective, and you said the sorry, what's the name of the Girls Rock?
Girls Rock Camp.
Yes, Girls Rock Camp.
I'm also Rachel, who is the founder of that local chapter. I've worked with her over the last few years. They've been at the last couple Babefests. Sometimes we bring the Derby Girls out, like I said. We just try to get. Sometimes I have Planned Parenthood tabling, and a lot of the nonprofits and organizations like that. We will. Not charge them anything or whatever and just make sure that they have a place to be seen because that's kind of important. So, and this one being one that, hopefully it will sell out and there'll be lots of people there. And
it's going to be a rager.
Yeah.
Like for sure. Yeah, no, it really will be a rager. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think it will be too. I mean, like I said, this is the 4th year and, Vicky's very good at all this, and the two of us together is very, very much a powerhouse. So I'm lucky for that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the event should be, like I said, music, femme DIY market, food, drinks, the whole works, and it's 18 plus, so that's a benefit too, I think.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I saw early bird tickets are already sold out.
Oh,
right?
yeah, early bird is gone. So
sorry. So now the late birds, you're gonna have to get the late bird tickets.
And there's another price hike after this, so if you get your ticket at the door, you're gonna be paying the $20 instead of 18.
Which is still a really good price for
agree.
Everything that you're getting.
That's part of Babefest too, is we want to make it accessible. So I'm really trying to not drive up the cost and do things through sponsorships. That way the average attendee will be able to afford it on what they make, a livable, wage kind of thing. They'll be able to pay and come and see a cool band.
Yeah, but it's hard because you gotta pay the bands too. I mean, you don't want to and then you also have to the venue fees and everything, so it cannot be it's not always easy to make these shows happen.
We were lucky, like I said, sponsorships have been good to us. There's a few organizations and companies in Fort Myers that have supported me since day one, and then there's a few groups here like No Clubs. And Hampton Inn as well is doing like discounted blocks if you want it in Ybor. So if people are coming from out of town, they can mention Babefest and get a discounted room. And they were able to give us some trade rooms for some of the bands that are coming in, and so we're finding ways to lessen the cost through in-kind trade, which is why we do the nonprofit status, because that's the best way for us to be able to make the event happen and encourage sponsorship, because sponsoring a nonprofit event is a tax benefit.
Hey, there you go, companies. Tax
so
write-off.
they can write that off.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Yeah. It's all about the write-off.
Yeah, so...
it's all about the organization, of course.
But for those companies, they want to support us, but at the same time, the write-off is really the benefit. If we were for profit, it would be a little bit more difficult for us to get the income that we need to...
For sure.
Yeah, to at least be able to get the event rolling, to make it lift off the ground and... but we still definitely depend on guests. So we definitely depend on that ticket price, and we make sure that it's affordable, but at the same time, will be able to help us to invest into future events. Right now, no one gets paid to be a Love Your Rebellion employee. Everybody is working pro bono, and every cent that we make goes back into the organization or is paying out folks who are helping to make things happen. Like, for example, the band is a contract, type situation.
Yeah.
The artists get paid, the musicians get paid, and that sort of thing. So, but everyone else is working out of passion. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, until we're able to like really turn the wheel and get everybody, employed and all that. So, which is my goal eventually, to make LYR a company that has employees and grow the festival. And a lot of people will grow festivals and then sell them. That's not my goal. My goal is to grow the festival and keep it.
Yeah, sure.
To just
I mean,
have
you
a
put in all
legacy.
this. You put in all this work already.
It's mine. I don't want to let it go. So.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
So I know you've hinted a little bit about this throughout this interview, but what's next for Love Your Rebellion? What after Babefest? What's on the horizon?
So we'll be reviewing programming for the rest of 2019 and for 2020. Obviously, 5th annual Babefest will be on the docket, as well as some programming that we do in Fort Myers ourselves. And we're going to do our same events. We do a something called Sonic Masquerade in the fall, where we have bands from our community do like full cover sets, and that's a fundraiser. So we do that.
Sonic Masquerade.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah, we do that every fall. We do another show called Rock for Equality in the fall in Fort Myers, where we pick a nonprofit and we split any of the donations that are made. Last year it was the Coalition for Immokalee Workers. So like we always pick a different group and try to foster that in a lot of, so we'll be doing that again. Rock for Equality, that'll be the third one. So we try to do a lot of music events based in diversity and making the zine and doing some outreach with teens and other at-risk groups in our community. So I think that's pretty much it. I mean, that's a lot. So yeah, I think that might be it.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of stuff, especially after knowing all the other stuff that you're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, where can people pick up the zine, or where can they, find more about Love Your Rebellion?
You can actually pick up the zine at Daddy Cool in St. Pete. So I know
they just moved.
Yeah. So, but they do have Love Your Rebellion zines. You can also go to our website, loveyourrebellion.org. We have a shop on there, so you can purchase the zine on there. You can purchase some other things like T-shirts from past Babefests and stuff like that. I think Tampa and St. Pete, Daddy Cool is the only place to pick up the physical copy. So you'd have to order it on our website otherwise. But yeah.
Well, that's really rad.
Thanks.
Super rad. So we're towards the end of our time now, but I just wanted to, I say this to everybody at the end of the episode to give you a space to just say whatever it is that's on your mind, any final thoughts, if you will, for the crowd. But, I think it's more important, given the conversation we just had about, being seen and diversity first, to really give you a space here to say whatever it is that you want to say. So.
Oh, Lord. Okay. I'll do my best. So I guess what I would like to say is that music should be shared by everyone, and to leave anyone out of it is simply criminal, and to create spaces where all identities are respected and given the same merit, based on how good they are, instead of who makes up the lineup. That's kind of where we should be going.
Yeah, I agree with that. Can't argue with that. No.
Yeah, I'm sorry I wasn't more profound.
No, that is super profound. I think you've been profound throughout this conversation.
Thanks.
So, well, thank you so much for coming and hanging with
You're
us
welcome.
and driving up here. I know.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I love
slog,
doing stuff like this, so
yeah.
I don't mind.
You're more than welcome to come back whenever you want.
Cool.
We'd love
Thanks.
to have you again
Appreciate
and talk
that a
more.
lot.
And looking forward to Babefest on the 25th.
I hope you guys will be there.
I will be there with
Yeah.
bells on. Jason
Cool.
will be there. Jason might not be wearing bells. I'll be wearing bells.
Okay, great.
But yeah, but it'll be great.
Okay, cool.
So cool. Looking forward to that. We'll see you at Crowbar. We'll get lots of Instagram stories stuff.
Fantastic.